Welcome to Real Estate and Then Some. My name is Carlton Prophet. I'm your host for today. Today we're talking our show's about real estate and then some. So we discuss current things you can do to get a house, because we're all about trying to empower the people to get houses and things of that nature with real estate. And stop throwing your money away on rentals and things like that. But as we go through this series, we also throw out little hits, things about you, tell you about the current conditions of real estate, things of that nature. But then we also get into controversial subjects that have nothing to do with real estate whatsoever. I always have a guest panel. Today I'm joined by two. I got a good friend named Roman Crispin, and I'll let Roman tell you who he is and what he does. And we also chose by Miss Jones. That's Miss Jones with two Z's on the Jones. Miss Jones is here. We have Miss Jones here because a lot of times we'll go into a subject, and I don't have anybody from the female gender to represent. Not saying that she's going to be pro-female or anything like that, but it gives an opinion that me and Roman don't necessarily see all the time. So, welcome to the show. I'll let them introduce themselves and tell you who they are and what they do. Miss Jones, to start with you first, since you're the lady of the group.
Hey, good evening, everyone. My name is Miss Jones, and I work for Azure Healthcare Services. We've been in the business for 13 years, and we also work for people with developmental and intellectual disabilities. Healthcare services is very important, especially now with COVID. So, any questions that you want to know about this business, please let me know, and I'll give you all the information that you need.
Okay, because I might need you for that, Ms. Jones, because at the same time, I know a lot of people, because I'm going through myself, taking care of elderly people that I had never planned on doing. So I know that you have experience with that group population. So in the future show, I'm definitely going to have you on here for that, okay?
15 years experience. And also, would like to, eventually run my own healthcare services. So we'll talk about that.
Gotcha. Mr. Crispin?
All right, Roman Crispin here. I work in a senior manager role for a nonprofit organization specialized in the science world, science industry. So that's who I am. And by the way, Ms. Jones does have some very hot takes on some of these topics. So can't wait to hear her opinions on the subject matters.
Okay, well, we're going to get in there very quickly, right? But this is the real estate. So let me give you who I am and what I am. My name is Carlton Prophet. I'm a licensed realtor, licensed in many states on the East Coast and West Coast, D.C., Maryland, Virginia, things of that. Also Arizona, California. So I'm all over. If I'm not in that state, I have affiliates of people that I know personally that will be able to help you through the process. So if you're somewhere and you're trying to get that house, please come our way. Make sure that, we'll take care of you and we'll give you the ins and outs. Even if you just have questions, we're here to be a source for you, okay? With that being said, let me get into the topic of what I'm doing today. I had a client probably about 3-4 months ago that was trying to get a house. Everything looked good. He made great money. Him and his girlfriend was trying to get a house, and his girlfriend she had less than stellar credit. But he made such good money. He said, well, I'll just get the house and, of course she could come stay with me. So he didn't have very little bills. I don't know, I'm going to tell you his, but he made good money. Only bill that he had was a car that he just purchased. And so when I asked him about how much the car was, the note was quite high, $700-800 range. And I was like, woo, you know what I'm saying? Because when you're trying to get a house, what they try to do is what's called the debt to income ratio. Basically, in layman's terms, they're trying to see how much money you got coming in, how much money you're going out. And they'll see that that $750 payment for a car, although you can afford it, but can you really afford it with the new price of the house and have some money left over? That's what they're trying to see. Because the number one thing the bank wants to know is, can you repay this loan that we're about to give you? And a lot of people ask me, like, man, Carlton, why they got to ask so many questions? Why they got to do things of that nature? Why can't they just look at my W-2s and just leave it at that? And I was like, well, look, you're putting down 3.5% of the purchase price if you're doing an FHA loan. They're putting up 96.5%. So you're putting up $10,000 of a $300,000 house, and they're putting up $290,000. You think I'm gonna ask you a whole lot question more than they would ask. So that's why they're so fierce in looking at it. And then these days we got people that make up W-2s. You know what I'm saying? Type them up and use that as their income. So it's a lot of fraud going on, things of that nature. So the banks are quadruple checking everything right now. With that being said, the debt to income ratio, even though you might have great credit scores and you make good history, we have to see that you can afford the house, not afford it in terms of I can get it, but you can't do anything else. We got to make sure that you can continue to live, have other bills, pay food, do the upkeep of the house, things of that nature. Not just you just make it barely by qualifying for it. And in this guy's case, he didn't qualify, although he made a good amount of money, but for the size house he was trying to get, he didn't qualify. He was going to have to get a much lower house. And so that wasn't for him. And we couldn't get his girlfriend on because her credit was still in repair mode. And so, he ends up going to, stays in a rental for another year until we get him into a house. But the point of the matter was, he was like, I wish I had never bought this car. I said, well, you can have the car. Had you bought the house first and then got the car, it's much easier. Anytime you buy a house and people see that house on your credit, they'll give you whatever ones you want on credit because the house is your collateral for it. Other way it doesn't work. When you got a, $40,000 car and you have nothing else to do it, yeah, you might get the car, but that can actually stop you later on from getting a house. Most people don't look at it that way because everybody assumes you go get the car then a house. All us real estate agents will tell you the opposite. We'd rather you get the house than the car because it's a easier, smoother transaction. Okay. Any questions on that? Anybody need to find me? My social media is Carlton Prophet on Facebook. That's CARLTON. Last name is on the screen. PROPHET. I'm Prophet Property on Instagram. My last name PROPHET. Then Property PROPERTY.
I have a question for you, C.
Sure.
So you mentioned income to debt ratio. So what's typically when lenders go through the approval process, what's typically the percentage to your income and debt that they look at?
It's no set number, but I've seen banks go as high as 55%, which is extremely high. But most people are cut it off between 45 and 50. Some do 40%. It depends on the bank that you're going with, but you usually see that in that range. So, banks in this condition, banks are tightening up their requirements. So a lot of people are not being able to get qualified due to the fact you got so many people unemployed right now. So that's how it comes in this world. You know what I'm saying? You said something, Ms. Jones?
Yeah, I was going to ask a question about that. When is the, how can I say, correct time to buy a house? Because you know how you hear sometimes, oh, no, this is not a good time to buy a house. This month, wait. Sometimes they'll tell you wait 3 months, wait 6 months. Wait, like when is it the right time to buy a house?
The answer,
I'm not saying like when your credit is all that good and everything like that. I'm talking about like when is it the right time to purchase a home? Well,
that's got different answers because some people will say when your the interest rates are low. The interest rate is one of the determining factors of how much you pay. Right now, interest rates are at all-time low. That's why you see so many people right now trying to get houses because of the interest rate. Okay. But at the same time, it's not just the interest rate, the prices of the house have a lot to do with it as well. So it depends on what area you move it into, the houses in that area. Because Washington, D.C. is different from, say, Arizona. You know what I'm saying? Jobs have it. The economy has a whole lot to do with it. So it's no special time. Then again, wintertime is also good if you want to go at time of winter because most people are not selling their home in the spring or selling home in the spring. So wintertime, people, they sometimes lower their prices to get people to look at their houses because a lot of people don't look at houses in the wintertime.
Okay.
So it can go that way as well. You know what I'm saying? I was always taught you try to get a house when everyone else is trying to buy. Okay? You don't want to do the same thing everybody else is doing. You know what I'm saying? If everyone's getting a house, you want to sell the house. You want to be a seller. Okay? Never do it with the crowd. By the time the TV tells you what to do, it's already too late. Okay? So, and I'm glad you asked that question because I always wanted to discuss that, the timing of real estate, because
Right.
timing is as crucial as anything, you know. And so that just really reminded me what was going on. But at the state, I'm gonna segue this on. So anybody have any questions, feel free to, you know how to reach me, contact me, whatever. I've definitely got answers for you and things of that nature. As we move on from here, we got something called And Then Some. That's what we talk about, controversial subjects about different things, dating, infidelity, social media. We have no bounds, and we try to cover different topics. So today's topic, it comes from, you know, a couple. I had my part, but Mr. Crispin had a question, had a topic he wanted to explore. So I'll let him do that.
Oh, so he just put me out there, huh?
Well, I mean, you was wondering, you know what I'm saying?
All right. So the question I want to pose is, I'd like to know, why do so many women date men who have multiple kids with multiple women? I'm sorry. Yeah, multiple kids with multiple women. And the man is not typically involved with any of the children, but yet a new woman will come along and just blindly date this man, and then may ultimately have a child by him as well.
Ooh, that's a good one.
So you want to know why women choose men like this?
What are they thinking? And on top of it, they're actually looking to have a serious relationship with what I deem to be a deadbeat dude.
Mm-hmm. Well, can I speak on that?
Absolutely.
Please.
Please do,
Miss
Ms.
Jones show.
Okay. Well, what I think is that they date these men based on how they were raised. So if they was raised as fatherless daughters, they weren't raised by a man in the house, so they don't know what it looks like to be loved by, seeing their mom being loved by a man in the proper way, in the correct way. They're not there to see how dad come home, provide, take care of his kids. They're not there to see that. So most of them are fatherless daughters, and they have no guidance. And then it comes also with self-esteem. And then it also comes with, you know, it could be a lot of different layers to, you know, why they are dating men who are really basically no good. You know, but I believe it starts from home. It starts from the structure at home.
Okay, so would you date a man? You personally. Would you date a man?
Say that again. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Would you date a man that didn't have the I guess he needed help. He needed somebody to help him get to the status that he's trying to get to. He might be a returning citizen. He might be somebody that had to do something else, and therefore he couldn't have the schooling. And he might have gotten in trouble. You know what I'm saying? And it's something on his record that stops him from getting those good paying jobs.
Okay, so you saying someone who was incarcerated that came out and met me?
It doesn't have to be incarcerated, though. I mean, he could just be down on his luck.
If he's down on his luck, and I see that he has some goals set for himself, and I see that he is trying to make it, I'm gonna be there and support him. I would.
Yeah.
But there's a limit. You know, what's the goal? What's the plan? Like, okay, when are you going to do this? Well, when are you going to do that? But as far as taking care of a man that is not driven, has no goals, has nothing, no, I would not be involved with.
So that's a bit of a different question.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if we really dug deep into my question, but I'm going to give an example of a person that I know who went the same question I had asked before. This young lady had two older sisters who she saw get pregnant, each one of them by a dude. Well, different boys, obviously, but boyfriends, and had kids. They struggled. The father, they weren't much of a father. They didn't really once they had the kid, their relationship pretty much, became distance. So there was clear signs, clear examples of, if I was, the way I'm looking at it is, I don't want to go and follow my sister's shoes because I see how much they're struggling. But yet she did exactly that with, and did followed in that same footstep. So Ms. Jones's original statement made a whole lot of sense about the lack of a father. And in this particular case, I think that was the case as well. However, but in here, though, you're actually seeing, you have two sisters who are struggling, who set the example. To me, I would think like, man, I'm not going to have any kids anytime soon until someone really makes a commitment to me. Now, fast forward, this woman has 3 kids by the same dude and the same issues.
Yeah.
I don't understand that. Now, now, and then in addition to that, this dude has other kids by multiple different women.
Yeah, see, that's
That's
where the self-esteem, and it's something within. It's something within that woman. It has to be. There's no way you could stick by somebody that has multiple kids from other people. I mean, it's something within her. It's definitely something there.
But what if the man had what if the man had put everything on the woman? She had this, and the person, doesn't know. The guy doesn't know, or he blames everything on the woman, and then he's like, I finally got away with her. Then I meet you. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not that person that you think I am. How much of a chance do you give them?
Dude, that's hogwash. At the end of the day,
that is, and then you know what? Let me say something. Let me say this because, okay, let me say this. With women, this thing about baby daddy and he step out with another chick and get her pregnant. This competition over a deadbeat guy is played out. It never was in style. It was never nothing to brag about. And at the end of the day, you're arguing over over who has this man. He's coming home to me, and this back and forth. And then the children, it's like the children lose. It's no structure at all. It's dysfunction. It's toxic. I mean, I can go on. But I see a lot of sisters like fighting each other over a deadbeat man. Like you both are struggling. Just like you said, they're both struggling. But they don't hold this man accountable of nothing.
They let him off the hook.
Right. And that's the issue. That's the problem that I see.
Yeah. And I tell you and I know the dude as well, and he constantly meets new women.
Same.
He doesn't hide the fact that he has, I think, 5 or 6 kids at this point, and I think with 4 different baby mamas, something like that.
Can I say something? Can I add on to that?
Sure.
Women know if a man is no good or not when we first meet him. I'm sorry. We know. We don't know everything. Hold on, see. We know some details about this man before we lay with him, before we meet him.
Hold on, we're gonna segue. We're gonna come right back. We gotta pay some bills real quick. So let's pay these bills. Y'all stay right here, and we gonna as we get deeper into that. All right. Take it away, Hello, my name is Carlton Prophet, real estate guru. Have you ever wanted a place to go to find the exact steps you needed to get a house? Come to my podcast every week, every Wednesday, 7 to 8 Eastern. You can get away from that rental and stop throwing that money away. My panel and I discuss current real estate issues as well as social issues, dating, infidelity, social media. Join us every Wednesday, 7 to 8 Eastern, live on urbansmartnetwork.com. Can you recap where we just was, please, sir?
Yep. I was sharing an example about a young lady I know who had two older sisters, had kids, and they struggled after having those kids. The fathers of the children pretty much left the relationship, Soon thereafter, the babies came to be. They struggled, had hard times finding babysitters to find jobs. They couldn't keep a job because as a result of that, funds were tight, all that good stuff. So I would have thought that this young lady that I know would have done everything in her power to prevent from following in those same footsteps. However, just in true form, she went right into the same situation, got pregnant by a dude that I know as well. They end up, he ended up being a deadbeat dad, had another kid soon after with another woman, went back to her, had 2 more kids, and now he's up to 6 kids with I think 3 or 4 different baby mothers. So anyway, I kind of scratch my head about the situation. How in the world do women allow themselves to fall into that situation? And this guy meets women constantly, and they know their situation. They're pressing him for a committed relationship, which he clearly has no intention of ever committing to them. But somehow these women think their coochie's going to eventually change this dude's mind, and so I don't get it, and that's why I was inquiring with Ms. Jones if she can shed some light.
Shed some light on us, Tip. Tell us what we missing here, Ms. Jones.
It's like that old saying: you can be the prettiest woman on the earth. You can cook, clean, had the best, vagina in the world is gold. Throw it up in the sky and blow it. Dust come out magic. A man is not going to stay with you unless he wants to be kept. He's not. You can do anything. I told anywhere. Look at Holly Berry. Look at Vanessa Williams. Look at all these beautiful women. They were all cheated on. Their men did not stay with them. They did not stay with them. So my thing with women is, and this situation that you just explained about the guy that's having all these different babies, and he don't want to be kept with none of these women. He don't want to be even with none of them. He's just spreading his seed and his thing from here, here, here. And before we got cut off, what I was saying to the women is that, we fight and argue at each other, and the guy's he's not going to stay with us. He's not going to I'm putting myself in a situation too, because I've dated some losers. I've dated some guys and we also know if a man is good or not. We know this before we even lay with a guy. But what we do, I'm going to put it on him and he's going to change. And
never works.
It doesn't work. So it is what it is. And I say this to all my women friends. I say it to all the ladies. You can do anything you want. I cook, I clean, I wash his clothes. Oh, he comes to me at this time, this time. You can do all that. That's not going to keep him. That's not going to keep him. Only one thing that's going to keep him is himself, is if he wants to stay with you. And
it's interesting because every time I see a new woman, he'll bring a new woman to my house. The first thing I want to really tell them is, girl, you better run back out that door, run as far away from this dude as possible.
Yeah, but I have a guy friend. I'm a name anonymous. He caught me off guard. Like he was like, "This is my main chick. This is my main one. This one right here. I'm gonna marry this one." And then we go to a cookout, and he got somebody else over there. And then I'm like, "Well, where'd she come from?" And then the group that we're all intertwined, we're all friends, you done slept with 3 or 4 of these other women. So I'm like, what? And I'm looking at the ladies because they're like texting him and they looking at each other and I'm like, he don't want none of y'all. He's not thinking of any of you. He's just picking his days and times of when he's going to sleep with you and sleep with this one and sleep with that one. He's not committed to anyone because he's not committed to himself. He doesn't, I could see it and they're like looking at it with blindfolds on.
It's funny you would say that. Recently, I had talk to some people I know in Arizona, and the guy had been living with his lady for a period of years, 6-7 years. Finally came home. He came home one day and he was like, "Hey, I'm tired of lying and cheating on you, so I'm not gonna do it. I'm with her. I'm gonna be with her on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and I'm with you with the kids on Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
So I thought you were saying he's going to stop doing it, but he's going to stop lying. Basically, he's going to stop lying, but be honest and say that I'm doing this, and you're going to have to live with it.
The funny thing about it was now all of a sudden when we and so the girl had a choice, and so the girl was like, her reasoning was, I'd rather be half a man than no man. You know what I'm saying? And so she tried to go that route. It wasn't for her, and then after another month she broke it off. But for a month ago she tried it, and it wasn't for her. Then I heard from a dude I know who called me one day, who was telling me, I know I sold him a house, and his father is a good friend of mine, and so him and the father were talking, and he's like, have you talked to Carlton? And he's like, well, tell Carlton such and such a message she wanted me to have. Okay. So, and that's what led the buddy to call me. And he's like, yeah, I can't. I said, tell him. I said, what's up? He said, I can't really do that because he's mad at me now. I said, what you mean? He said, well, when he was talking to me, I panned the camera around and it caught me in bed with two women. One was my baby mother and one was a girlfriend. And he seen that on the camera. He's like, whoa, what are you doing? He's like, man, this is what we do. I don't lie. Everything is what it is. Everyone in the bed knows what it is. I know what it is. He said, I feel great, blah, blah, blah. And that's what it's going to be. And that's the way he said he chose. And then he rationed. He came up, he justified it by saying that his father was never there. He was there, but wasn't there. He was there for maybe 2 weeks. But he said he got 8 brothers and sisters, 3 of which are the same age as he is. You know what I'm saying? So Pops had many kids all the way around. He didn't neglect them, but he wasn't there on an everyday basis either. And so he said he learned a lesson from that. It's better to have many different women or whatever is possible rather than that having no one and being solo. He said because our generation, well, he was saying me and Roman, I guess, are I'm younger than you, much younger. But go ahead. Was, one guy, one woman. He said, but this generation right now is like, nah, you get you 3 or 4 because she gonna get 3 or 4 and he gonna have 3 and 4. You know what I'm saying? So the challenge though, see, I don't have an issue with that, to be quite honest with you, because at the end of the day, if what he's saying is legit, that everybody in that bed is aware of what's going on, that's one thing, because they accept it and they agree with it. They're all adults. They're doing their thing. Now, what I would have an issue with if one of those women in the bed, even though they know it and accept it, but that's not what they want. If what they want is they're looking for a committed relationship, and if they're specifically looking for the committed relationship with this dude, now you got some questions to answer for me because I don't understand your position here, your approach. See, I know his baby mother. I know his baby mother. Mm-hmm. You said one of his baby mom.
One.
I know the one here that's come to be his baby mother. You know what I'm saying? And
we're not talking about the same dude with my example, are we?
Right.
No, I'm just kidding.
But it's like I don't know from an intimate level, but she seemed like she had her head on straight, blah blah blah. But with her, she was like this is the best of both worlds for her. She made it saying it was the best thing ever. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, but
she's accepting it.
Yeah, she's accepting it. She's accepting it.
Yeah. So now again, if she told you, well, this is the only way I can have any piece of them, but this is not what I want, then I would question you. I would question her. I was like, well, this is how you getting what you want by doing something you really don't want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like Ms. Jones said, they're all adults, they all consent to doing it, and they all agree with it. That's one thing. Everybody has the same goal. They want to do their thing. That's fine. But you can't convince me it's fine if that's not what you want, but you're willing to accept this term that this man has laid out just so you can have him in some way, shape, or form.
Mm-hmm.
You say on that, Ms. Jones?
I agree. I totally agree. I'm thinking of, my head's going so fast right now. I'm thinking about, is it a shortage of men? Is that why these women are just like, look, hey, it is what it is, and let me just deal with this, and hopefully he'll come around and maybe he will just date me only. that's how I see, you know, what's going on around me.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
In the dating scene and the relationships and I mean we could take it further. We're gonna go to another level. Even with like marriages, like it's like people are having side men and side women on the side. They just you know, and they even the spouse know, and the spouse is just like, oh well, I'll deal with it because you're gonna have to buy me out, you know, because of the marriage and what they got in stake, like they have property together or anything. I mean, it's so many reasons. Because I ask couples, I ask people, and I'm like, well, no, it's not that easy. I can't just go and leave, and you know, I got property, and we got stuff together, and this and that. Okay, so let me ask you two as men, why do men stay with their wives if they're not happy at home? Is it just the material, like the property, of what they face and what they're going to lose is big at stake? Then, okay, I see your head shaking.
All right, combination, go ahead. Jump on, Roman, since your head is moving like this.
So,
because he's green. I want to know.
So for me personally, that will never happen. I'm not going to stay in any situation I'm not happy with. However, I can appreciate, because once upon a time when my kids were young, I felt if something were to ever happen to my wife and I, and we would get divorced, I would feel like I'm divorcing my kids. Right? So, and that would have rocked and changed my world. That's full transparency, total disclosure. That couldn't happen. Now, thank God, you know, like every relationship goes through its tough times. It was never too tough to where we couldn't make it work. So I was never miserable or unhappy. But I'm a firm believer that you train people how to treat you.
No.
Right? So for whatever reason, people decide to stay in bad relationship, whether you're a male or a female. And if you're not happy because someone is mistreating you, and you stay, you're accepting and you're training them that it's okay to continue to treat you that way.
Makes sense.
Okay. Well, as the only divorced person on this panel here, I'll speak for that side on this side. Okay.
I trained her. I consulted her. I consulted Carlton's wife. Don't leave that Bama. He no good. No, I'm just kidding.
As we coming up on the end of our show, we're here next week with.
Oh no! And I've never been married, so I'm.
No. You'll never get married. Okay, we'll come back to that later.
On with me, I stayed in the beginning because the children. We have kids together, and I'm not divorced. She's a hell of a mother. Still, great mother, best mother I can have. Not from me, best mother for my child he can have. So our issues wasn't with that, and I didn't want to disrupt that. And so part of you feels like you can go ahead and save it. I can do this. I can do this. Let me change and do this. You know, and you come to a point where it's like, man, it's not you coming home miserable. You know what I'm saying? And for me, myself, I've been an entrepreneur for many, many years. And I've always wondered how people say it's Monday, I got to go to work and all that. I never felt like that. So I never came home and had an attitude. But I had myself had an attitude when I was coming home. As soon as the car pulled up, oh my gosh, it was like this. It's like that. And when you living like that, that's not the way life is either. You know what I'm saying? And it's not just one side. I'm sure she was feeling the exact same thing when she hear the garage door come up and I'm coming home. You know what I'm saying? And it lasts 5-10 minutes and then something's gonna go. It's a look or some way. And I didn't want to live my life that way. Although I tried to keep it together. Because I always said when I got married, I'm only getting married once. So, and I didn't want to be a success. I was married for some years, you know. I didn't want to be another divorced person out here. But it got to the point that it wasn't healthy for my family. You know what I'm saying? My son, I feel like he was catching everything. Cause he could feel the kids feel the tension. They know what's going on. And to them, that was like, you know, So we both try to have conversations with the child to say this and this, that. And, it came to a point it was like, hey, this just not going to work. However, I will say now, although I've been divorced for some years, we're great friends. You know what I'm saying? It works. It works the way our marriage should have worked. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So we're good on that, and we're great friends. So to me, I think they stay a lot of time because of the complications with kids and other things. Yeah.
And I get that. And again, I don't want to poo-poo on that because I wouldn't. I'm not going to be a hypocrite to say if I was in a similar situation, it would be easy for me. But I believe everybody owes it to themselves to be happy.
I agree.
And I just refuse to ever be in a situation where I'm miserable. And I just refuse to be. I'd rather be alone, hurting, and learn how to be by myself and learn to love me again than to stay in some relationship because of my kids, or because my mom did something similar to that, and she wasted the golden years of her life. And so I knew growing up in that situation, I would never, ever, ever do that.
But see, I come from hold on real quick, Miss Jones. I have my grandfather and my grandmother were together for 50 years. Okay, Miss Jones, I think your meter's off. Your okay, and I've never seen them argue. And so when I looked at a successful marriage, that was their marriage that I looked at. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, what am I doing wrong if my grandmother and grandfather didn't do wrong? You know what I'm saying? And you're always trying to compare and contrast. And I don't think it's meant to be that way because they're different. Our times are different. You know what I'm saying? But you're not really looking at it in that situation. I don't know. I'm torn both ways. I mean, I don't believe in staying with nobody and you're not happy. I think happiness is everything.
I believe that as well. I believe that as well. I mean, even whether you're married or it's not even married, if you're in a relationship with somebody, I've done it. I was to the boiling point where I left and took all my belongings out of the house, and he found out when he came home from work I was not there. And it wasn't. And thank God I was never in a physical abusive relationship, but a mental and emotional is even worse.
I was about to say,
they say hit it new lows.
I dipped. I was like, okay, I can't take this no more. Like, it's time for you to get out of here. And I advise anybody that's out of a bad relationship, learn to live by yourself. I've done it for 2 or 3 years by myself. I ain't date nobody. I ain't date nobody. I just was. I found out who I was. Being alone and lonely is 2 different things.
Yes.
That was some good therapy. And the person that I'm with now is like he see a whole bright sunshine and because I love me and he sees it.
That's what's up. Let me ask you a question.
Yes.
You have a daughter and Roman has a daughter, right?
Right.
Let's say, and Roman's daughter's a little older than yours, so he can answer this one. I know your daughters are little ones. Or your daughter is a little one. Excuse me. Let's say your daughter, or both of your daughters, bought that guy that we've been talking about, because I think we strayed a little bit. It bring this guy home. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, you can y'all know just by coming to the door. You know what I'm saying? He might be smelling like weed, smoke, or whatever, coming in, cussing or whatever. His clothes are not up to date. Manners doesn't have any, but that's who she loves. Do we step our foot in like, oh hell no, nah? Or do we talk to her and it's like, Mom, I love him. You know what I'm saying? What do you do? Do you put your foot down? If they living with you, you can't see them no more. Change the number.
I would hope with all the guidance that I installed in my child, that she will have enough sense to know, whether, the Carlton is a good one. Because even like you can raise your kids really, really, really well and like really, really, really good. And they can still fall off and do something.
Absolutely. There's no perfect way. So what I would tell you is I will, as their father, I will never stop being their coach in
Mhm.
life, right? So if I'm not going to pick who they choose to love. That's not my thing. Um, but I will coach them continuously if they bring some dude like the guy we've been talking about,
Right.
and I would tell them, what in the world do you see in this person who has multiple kids by multiple women, and why do you think you're going to be different?
And what if they? And I'm not saying you're right, wrong. You're 100% right. But as we know with kids, I tell my son should be the #1 real estate agent in America right now. As much as game I give him,
Mm-hmm.
but he's not.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? They don't listen. I mean,
Well,
we
but
know.
well, we didn't listen either. Then, if that's the case, to our parents,
I
right?
listen.
So
I
yeah,
listen.
no, because you forget your mother and I are very close, but
Oh goodness. Okay.
she told me everything, and I. So, but you know, it's life though, because at the end of the day, when they get older, they're going to live their lives, choose to live their lives the way they feel fit. You got to be there to support. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to agree or just let them, not even let them, because at the end of the day, so you suggest when you let an adult do something, they're no longer an adult. You're still treating them like a kid. I'm just going to continue to be in their ear.
Yeah.
I'm just not going to um, let anything slip by to where they go against all the values that their mother and I have placed in them, and not to sell themselves short by just accepting some man with a whole lot of baggage. We want you to. We've constantly, just like Ms. Jones has said about her child, we constantly are coaching and training our kids and preparing them to be the best possible citizens of this world. But they're going to eventually make their decisions, and we're not going to always like them. So I'm just going to always be there to coach them. So I'm not going to cut my kids off because of who they decide to date, no matter how much of a idiot they may be.
Ms. Jones?
I mean, I totally agree. Like you said, my mom told me plenty of times, she'll see somebody and like, don't you marry him. And I didn't, but I later on it hit, and I'm like, dang, she was right. Like she was really right about this one. How does she know that? She only met him for like 20 minutes, and she already knew. So that's where I'm at now. So I'm like, wow, my mother saw something. She sees something that I didn't see, and I'm glad that I listened.
Yeah, I think parents are like that. I know my father. My father told me he would just had this little wry smile on his face. He's like, and I'm thinking I'm slick hiding whatever I'm trying to do, and he's just like, man, you not anything you done, I've done. So I'm gonna tell you what your problem's gonna be. You light skinned, you gonna have dudes gonna hate you, women like you. Them green eyes you got, that's gonna be a gift and a curse. Because I ain't know what he meant by it. You know what I'm saying? So I meet girls. They say, "Oh, he got green eyes, girl. I'm in love with blah blah blah." And then I'm at a party, with the crew, and I got some dude from another crew come steal me up my face. You know what I'm saying? Because I got some green eyes. You know what I'm saying? I got to be ready to fight at a moment notice type thing. You know what I'm saying?
All this time I just always thought your eyes were black because you always have black eyes, bro.
Whatever.
You the green eye bandit, huh?
Yeah, it sure is.
Man, but at the same, it's funny how I don't know. I don't even know what to say. It's just like, you're the parent. You see everything. I know my father see it. You know what I'm saying? And he just the look he got you. He just like he got this little look like, you stupid. You can't see that. You know what
yeah. But I mean, but at the end of the day, though, I mean, again, no matter how much he preached to you, you still did you.
Oh yeah,
right? Yeah. Right. So you gotta let for lack of a better word, right? You gotta let your children grow up. They gotta be able to make decisions on their own and make their mistakes. And hopefully, you do it early enough in their lives to where they learn from the mistakes, and you can coach them when you still have such major influence on them. So when they get older, they won't make bigger mistakes. Right? So again, there's no perfect way to raise children. I mean, you can have 3, 4, 3 of them may turn out to be wonderful people, and then one of them might be just what is it called, the black sheep of the family. So there's no rhyme or reason, because at the end of the day, they're going to grow up, they're going to make decisions on their own.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy, you know what I'm saying? My child is like 18, or will be 18 soon. So
Ooh.
Micah, my youngest. So
what grade is Micah in, bro?
It's senior.
Damn, I didn't realize that. That's right, because Kendall's right behind.
Math was never your best subject. I mean, you was horrible in school with math. So you say you can't add whatever. But I mean, I'm not shocked that you didn't know he was a senior. You know what I'm saying? But
it's abuse.
I have a question, gentlemen.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. How does a woman let a man know that she's a good woman?
Say that again?
How does a woman let a man know that she's a good woman?
I think some of them try to do it as like cooking. I had people come over like, "Oh, I'm a great cook," and they continue to say they're a good cook, and so they'll say the stuff that they do. You know, I always keep a house clean. I do this and this. This is before you go to the house to see anything. But then it's the long term for me. You was cooking in October, but by the time December come around, you ain't cooked nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
so consistency.
Yeah.
Well,
when you first meet her, and what about like the way she looked? Like, and I'm coming on to something. You know how we as women, we catch our men by they look at our appearance and, she's beautiful, or she looks like this, or you know how we dress up before you guys come over, and we got a little nightgowns and little pretty little stuff, and then after 6 months or a year in, we wear hair bonnets and robes and stuff. So how do you all feel about that? Like, how do you feel about that?
So, for me, you're right. It's initially, it's not all, but what attracts you to a person is typically their appearance. But what keeps that person, or keeps me interested in that person, is everyday life of how they go about treating me or carrying themselves. I look at everything, right? So it's not necessarily you have to cook for me. It's like the niceties, right? So if I come home, or I've been out for a while, I've had this. My wife did this, and she would. It's the timing of when she did it, not whether or not she was a great cook or not. It's the fact that she was thoughtful enough to think about that. It just being there for like little small things. So to me, that's what makes me fall in love with a woman, because at the end of the day, there's a gazillion looking good women out here. They're going to always, most of the time, us, and a lot of men are not damn picky when it comes to looks anyway, to be honest with you. So it's if you're a genuine person, because a lot of the times I looked at things, the qualities in a woman that match what my mother did. And I'm not saying that I wanted my woman to be my mother, and no stretch of the imagination, but
you was around that day in, day out. You had certain expectations. Right.
Yeah. So someone who's caring, and again, this all was what was important to me, because it was extremely important to me that when whoever I married had to have strong family values, because my family and I were extremely close. Right. There would have to have been a great mother. At least had to demonstrate that they had the qualities of eventually becoming a good mother. So there's all the physical stuff. You can find that.
Yeah, that fades out.
Anywhere.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I agree. I agree a lot with what Roma said. My mother is everything. So at the same time, I'm looking for stuff that my mother did, and I'm seeing they do the same. Not saying they had to. I might not say nothing is wrong. I I tell a story one time when I was married. I came home. I'm like, man, I'm starving. And my wife at times said, yeah, me too. You know what I'm saying? What you gonna cook? Well, I'm the one that's been at work all day. I gotta do that. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, you're looking at that, and I'm like, you know, because my mother my mother never took an off day from cooking. It wasn't no off day. Off days we might got pizza one day, but that was rare. You know what I'm saying? So, you're looking for somebody that, but the times change as well. You know,
Right.
so you try to align yourself in with the time what's going on. You know, well, let me go ahead and look at it from a different point of view. Like I said, my father never cooked. He can cook. He never cooked. So when I got married, I said, I'm gonna try to cook. I always cook. My mother, I used to tell people I was gonna be a bastard. My mother would say, well, you need to learn how to cook. Thank goodness she told me how to cook. I think I cook better than a lot of people. And so,
but it's about the niceties, though, right? See, because I mean, like even before my wife and I got married, I mean, you know, us guys, unlike women, we don't buy underclothes on as much as you guys do. Right. So, I mean, I would go around with the same stained ass t-shirts.
Right. Weird.
I'm like, yeah. I mean, my wife, when we were dating, she would see something like that, and the next thing you know, I'll see all brand new white t-shirts in my drawer. Right. So, you know,
Rome, I got to give you 30 seconds because my producer's telling me we got to end it up. So
no, I'm sorry. I didn't. Miss Jones was going someplace with this. We didn't give her a chance to say
for that.
No. You. I was listening. Let him finish talking because I'm. This is what I want to do.
Taking it in. This is what I want to do. Yeah, I just like a good, nice, generous person. It's not about the physical, although it's important. Don't get me wrong. But I want someone who's going to be thoughtful, who thinks of me at moments where I wouldn't expect them to. Again, I'm not expecting to have someone cook for me. I'm not expecting anything. But I'm a thoughtful person. I just look the same with my woman.
Ms. Jones?
No, I appreciate that. That's, something that you will see. You guys are from the old school, so
you're right.
But that's because Rome is so much older. You know what I'm saying? But
guys, younger guys, younger men these days, they don't think that way. It's all about what somebody looked like.
We might have had one of them. We might have to have some of them on the test too. I got a bunch of youngins that I've taught school with who are now adults, late 20s, early 30s. I'm going to bring some of them on there and see how I get that take over from as well. You know what I'm saying? I want to thank both of y'all for coming on the show. If y'all want to shout out your social media, please feel free to do so, or ways that they're going to be constant guests on here. They'll probably see here next week or the week after, so you'll always get to see them as we deeper into some of the stuff that's going on in our world. I do want to say, in this being Black History Month, every day I outpoint a person. Today I have Althea Gibson, first Black woman to win Wimbledon, 1957. Way before Serena and Venus was even thought of. We had Althea winning in 1957 straight sets. You know what I'm saying? So, shout out to all the people that paved the road so we can get here to where we are today. I mean, I don't think you could do a book or nothing like that because it's almost endless, the amount of stuff that we've done, So, appreciate y'all watching that. You know what I'm saying? We here every weekend, every Wednesday from 7 to 8. Sorry about the little problem we had earlier. We're still working all the kicks out, but we're going to get everything out. Anybody want to do a show or something like that? Look at Urban Smart Network or give me a call. Call me. Check me out on social media. Appreciate y'all coming as we say goodbye.
Hold on. Let Ms. Z give her social network. Just
if you want to.
If you want to.
Oh, we'll do it next week.
Okay.
Do it next week.
I'm still working on mine. And by the way, call 1957. What were you, 10?
No, I wasn't born though. I wasn't born until late 90s.
Okay.
Late 90s.
1890.
Okay, y'all be easy now. Oh.
All right, guys. Thanks.
All right,
thank you. Peace.
Okay.
See you later.
Bye. Hello, my name is Carl Prophet, real estate guru. Have you ever wanted a place to go to find the exact steps you needed to get a house? Come to my podcast every week, every Wednesday, 7 to 8 Eastern. You can get away from that rental and stop throwing that money away. My panel and I discuss current real estate issues as well as social issues, dating, infidelity, social media. Join us every Wednesday, 7 to 8 Eastern, live on UrbanSmartNetwork.com.